Parker.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
James.
As always.
Good to see you too.
How's the shade and AV business?
It's good.
In the Big Apple.
It's good.
Yeah?
It's good. We're rolling along.
It's going pretty well?
It's busy.
Yeah?
It's busy. There's a lot going on. We all know that there's a lot of building out there.
Just look at the cranes,
city.
right? I mean, it's just the skyline is just full of cranes.
Right. And the thing that's happening, or has happened over the past several years, is the technology has really come to the forefront.
Yeah.
I mean, when I look back at some of the jobs that we did 6, 7, 8, and 10 years ago, or even beyond that.
Yeah.
I mean, to put in, let's just say, for example, motorized shades, or take it a little further, into maybe 2012, 13, 14.
Yeah.
Look at lighting controls and where all of that's come. It used to be that to do a motorized shade job was kind of rare.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do some.
Yeah.
But
as a percentage of your shade business,
it's really
10%.
changed. It's really changed. And we're dealing with a lot of high-end clients, and it's really become just part of
the norm.
Yeah, it's what they do.
Yeah.
It's what they want. It's what they want.
Has the price, obviously, the price of everything, the price of construction goes up about 3.5% per year on year in New York. It is the most expensive city in the world to building officially, or according to The Real Deal, who generally writes truthful things. Have you found that the actual cost of the product has incrementally come down as it's become more popular, or it's always been the same and more people are just choosing to do it?
The answer is it depends.
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. I would say that some of the technology has changed and has given us an avenue to go to that can reduce the price.
Yep.
From where it used to be. There's a lot more choices today.
Yeah. A lot more manufacturers too. A lot more integration options.
There's more manufacturers.
Yeah.
And there's certainly a variety of options, and especially as some of the lighting technology, the AV and automation technology, as that has gotten better.
It seems to have got cleverer. They seem to be, I remember Windows getting involved with this. Microsoft got involved with this whole home integration thing probably around 2010. And it was a complete catastrophe. Nothing that they produced worked. And now we seem to be in a world where it's so unusual for stuff not to work.
Listen, it does work. Most of the time. That's part of the challenge of the business that we're all in.
Yeah.
But really, like I said, when you look at some of the brands, some of the major brands, and some of them that aren't so well known.
Yeah.
What we continue to find year in, year out is that there's new people entering the business, and there's people that perhaps have been doing it in Europe for years.
Like the Crestron sort of brand?
Well, not Crestron specifically, but other brands that you maybe haven't even heard of.
Okay.
And as the technology gets better, as some of those companies figure out what they need to do to make it work in the United States, they continue to move that product here, and some of it has allowed us to broaden our, what we can offer. Yeah. And in addition to that, it just gives us a chance to go different directions. When a client says to us, I really don't like that Crestron or Lutron or Savant switch or whatever it might be. Yeah. And you can name any number of companies. So what do they want? So we look into our toolbox and we come up with, well, here's a new, switch.
From Germany that's been out,
Yeah, from wherever.
And now they integrate with each other, because the problem was 10 years ago, none of this stuff really worked together. The Lutron stuff wouldn't work with other brands, or a particular switching system wouldn't work with a particular shading. Now it all seems to talk to each other reasonably well.
You're right. You're right. I mean,
especially with like the Savant systems, which become kind of ubiquitous, and it's such a new company, you know, in the scheme of things.
Yeah. Listen, you're right about that. What when you look at the way the automation, those systems work.
Yeah, the integration component.
When you look at them, they're made to really work with this item, that item, this platform, whatever it might be. So you can use products. If you use Savant, for example, it doesn't have to be all Savant all the way through.
No, it'll control.
I mean, it could be
pretty much anything.
Any number of products.
Yeah.
Any number of products.
Such a menu to choose from.
Yeah, and it certainly is a lot easier today to take on some of those other brands and bring them into that job that you're working on because it fits what's going on. And there could be any number of reasons why that product is better than the other product for that job. Doesn't mean the actual technology is better or the product itself is better, but it may just be better.
It just suits that job.
Yeah.
Do you see a significant spectrum in the difference in costs versus the difference in reliability versus the difference of technology between the brands? Or you've got Lutron, which for me is my favorite. I love using Lutron products because their customer service, in my experience, is just fantastic. You call Lutron up, you say, I'm an end user, I know nothing about what I'm looking at, and they'll talk you through how to make something work, or say, yeah, you need to get a technician in for this. They're so helpful. But they're also flagship price. I mean, to do a full Lutron motorized shade solution is gonna take your breath away from the cost perspective sometimes.
Yeah. This is one of those things where, again, it depends what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
When it comes to lighting controls and controlling the system, you have the challenge of LEDs.
Yeah.
LEDs are tricky.
0 to 100 dimming, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's one LED bulb is not like another LED bulb. Is not like one LED driver. Is not like another LED driver. You can end up with lights that are flickering, and it's nothing to do with the switching. You can end up with lights that don't dim, or they dim in chunks rather than dimming in a linear fashion. So understanding that is a huge part of the time we spend with our clients. So because they're like, why am I spending this much on a fixture? It's like, because it's going to drive you up the wall.
It's one of the biggest challenges in the whole automation industry.
Yeah.
In residential, in commercial systems, you really have to think about what you're going to put in for lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big decision. It's expensive, like you're saying, sometimes. It doesn't have to be, necessarily, but you've got to have the right backbone running those lights.
It's like you've got to have the right central nervous system running this thing. If you start mixing and matching components, specifically, the shade seems to be easier, but you start getting into the LED and the LED bulbs and fixtures and switching, you can really get someone that knows what they're doing with this. Don't try and work it out yourself is sort of the rule of thumb, right?
It really can be a challenge, and that's where Lutron comes in. Yes, you pay more, but you're also confident that it's going to work.
Yeah.
And
every time.
Yeah, and that's
and pretty much forever.
Yeah. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Whereas the same, I don't think, can be said for some of the other components. There are several different, let's just say, receivers for home theater systems. There's several good ones out there. Now, the difference between the best one and one that's just sort of middle of the road, it is significant if you're someone who really cares about the way it sounds and what it can do to the video.
Yeah.
But for the average user
who wants to watch Gladiator at 2 a.m. and hang out on the couch.
As long as it works and
sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good and does the things that it should do, that you expect it to do, then
and it
that's
does
good
it when
enough.
you push the button. and you don't have 9 remote controls in front of you trying to work out what's doing what.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the story when it comes to those kind of components. And it goes back to what you were asking about, the pricing.
Yeah.
You don't always have to pay top dollar for every piece of equipment that you're going to buy.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of good manufacturers, and there are plenty of good components that can work for a job.
Yeah.
If that suits that client, that job, that project, and so on, and all the all those aspects that you have to look at. And that's part of what we do.
Yeah.
What we do. What's so critical in determining that is we need to talk to the client, the user. When we talk about challenges that we face, we sit and we talk with an architect or a designer, but it's not the end user.
No.
And ultimately, this is one of the things that we find that is really critical in the whole process. And there are some other pieces I'll go over too.
Yeah.
But what's really critical is you talk to the end user and you listen to what they have to say, what do they really want.
What are they going to use the system for?
Right. And ultimately, if you're a good listener and you ask the right questions, you're going to determine what really works for them, and you can help them. Because what I find, and what my partner and my AV manager finds, is that most people don't really have a specific brand preference. They want a system that works properly, and they're really willing to listen to the expertise that's sitting out there, that's actually going to install and get that thing working for them.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that we have confidence in the product that we're selling. Yeah. And they'll ask us, well, I heard this is good. Okay, well, yeah, that's a good piece of equipment, but what are we doing with it? What's going to be used for? And, we go into the whole conversation about that and try to develop the components and all the things that they want around what it is that they're going to use it for.
Yeah, I find our clients are looking for a system that is technically robust. It's got to be stable, and it's got to be stable all the time. If I have a client who wants background music for cocktail parties in the kitchen and in the living room, we don't need to be selling them, Macintosh amplifiers. We can be putting in something Marantz and what have you, great quality stuff. It's going to do a great job. If you want to watch surround sound in the den with the kids, do we really need, to put $20,000 speakers in there? Probably not. I think, as you say, understanding, we often end up with a bit of a crossroads, or certainly a fork in the road, where this is invariably a husband, in my experience. You may disagree, but it's invariably the husband desire. He wants the great sound, he wants the rest of it. And perhaps Mrs. Client would rather, spend more money on the drapery and the power shades and the rest of it. So there's always that sort of dynamic of trying to get everybody as happy as you possibly can.
Yeah. Listen, I think there's some truth to that. It's probably does lean more on the in the case the man in the family who really wants that big audio system.
Yeah.
However, there are some times when it goes the other way.
Yep, definitely.
And ultimately, there's something very much in common there. They both want it to work.
They both want it to work.
And they'll say to us, well, we want it to sound nice.
Yeah.
Or we want the picture to look good.
Yeah.
Or, we don't want just an ugly TV up there. How do we do something with it? And that's where we, in some cases we collaborate with the builder, with the contractor.
Yeah.
So what can we do to kind of hide that, make it a little, camouflage it a little bit, make those changes? How do we do that? So, part of the whole thing is is working with all of our partners on that job.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is critical to talk about in this whole discussion about AV and shades and all that is, what makes these jobs really go right.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that there's really just a couple key things, in there. Listen, we are not perfect. I don't know that anybody is, but we try to do everything that we can do to get the job done right.
Yeah.
Try to think through the potential problems and all of that, so that we can eliminate those kind of issues. But the goal is to install it, do it right, deliver the right
and have
components.
a delighted client.
Yeah. I mean, it's complicated sometimes, but it's not. We're not building a rocket ship here.
We're not saving lives.
No, that's right.
We're
That's
making
right.
you more comfortable.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be stressful.
Yeah.
Gerry, it's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And it's great to work with you. It's
Yeah.
great to work with such a professional team. So thank you very much.